Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wheel of Wisdom, episode number 116. I am so happy to have each and every one of you here spending your time with me. And to tell you a little bit about me, my name is Anisha. I have been a teacher on Insight Timer since 3 years now. And I am a psychologist. I am a mindfulness meditation teacher. And currently, I'm working as an aligned life coach, meaning I basically help women live in alignment with what matters most to them. So that is a little bit about me. And now I would love to know you guys, like which part of the world you are joining us from. Is this your first time here or have you been here before? So, yeah, drop in a hi in the comments so I can like get to feel your presence because I cannot see you right now. So, yeah, I would really appreciate if you can drop in a hi and share with me something about you. Hello, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is joining us from Rhode Island. Wonderful. Oh, you are a clinical hypnotherapist. Wonderful. Wow. Then I hope that you're going to kind of enjoy our meditations that we do in these lives. Today, we're not going to do one. So yeah, let me, share with you guys what we do here, and then I will let you know, what changes we are going to have in today's live. We usually start these lives with a meditation to open ourselves, to raise our vibrations. And up until now, we were, meditating on a particular quote on Insight Timer that you see when you open the app, you see a quote on the main page. So we were meditating on that, and we were trying to soak in that wisdom fully through the meditations. But today, since there is no quote on Insight Timer and there is, I think, a festival of something, so yeah, I also didn't felt called to guide a meditation today. So I thought let's add in something new, which is also new to Insight Timer. So I thought, yeah, let's, bring in a surprise as well. And okay, so after the meditation, I will share with you in a moment what that new element is that I'm adding to at least today's live. But to share with you what we do here, an overview of it. So yeah, after the meditation, we used to move to the next thing, which is spin the wheel of wisdom. That's why the name Wheel of Wisdom. So basically, we have a wheel that contains the name of transformational books that I have, came across in my own journey of healing and personal growth. And so yeah, that wheel randomly used to choose a book for us, and then we used to open that book. I used to play a game, and I will play a game with you guys where I will ask you guys to choose a number, and then we will do a reading based on that. So I will share with you detailed instruction when we go on to each phase. Um, but yeah, that was the overview of what we do here. And I hope that you find it interesting in some way. Um, Elizabeth says, I do the same with the many books in my library. Yeah, picking it at random, right? Because there is so much wisdom around us. And let's, it would be like amazing to add some fun as we, soak in some wisdom one thing at a time. And Amelia joined us. Amelia says, good morning, good people. Welcome back, Amelia. Happy to have you. Amelia says, good morning, Anisha. I am loving the hairdo today. Thank you, Amelia. I guess it is my good hair day today. But yeah, thank you. Okay. So, since I mentioned we are not going to do our usual meditation today, instead, the thing that I'm replacing today's meditation with because there was no quote on Insight Timer today. So, yeah, so the thing that I'm replacing it with is something that I've recently, I think, come up on Insight Timer, which is like a therapist hub. So there is like I don't know, a new space for therapists, and it that space actually includes some worksheets or stuff, okay? Like some information. Those worksheets sometimes involves information, sometimes involves an activity, that is used in a therapeutic setting, although it is not therapy, but it is a tool that is used in a setting like that. So I thought let's use the same format that we do with the books with these, worksheets. And right now, I think there are like 80 plus worksheets here. So what I'm going to do is, since I haven't mentioned it in a wheel right now, it just came and I just, got to know about it. So, let me show you guys. So this is like the worksheets, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to close my eyes, okay? And tuning into my intuition, I am going to scroll through the pages with my eyes closed until I feel like this is the worksheet, this is the resource, this is the tool, this is the piece of wisdom that wants to come today for all of us here. And we will stop at that resource and then open it and read through it, And if there is exercise, we can do it together. So we get to transform together. So we receive something that we needed to hear. So we learn something new. Um, so what do you guys think of this? Do you guys like it? Are you guys excited for it, or do you guys want me to skip it? This is just an idea that dropped into my head. Okay, Amelia says, let's do it. Wonderful. Hmm. Yeah, something new. Let's try it. I'm also trying it with you guys. Let's see what happens, what comes up. Because, you know, I always say that there is so much information today, and there are so many tools around us. And some of us are into that, and some of us collect them, but very rarely, like very few of us actually apply it into our life. And when we apply these, like tiny tools in a simple way in our life, one step at a time, in that kind of a way, that's how change comes into our life. Not something drastic, but little things. So, yeah, let's see what is going to happen. I'm going to drink some water and then we will begin. You guys can also hydrate yourself. Okay, maybe. Let's also do this. So, so that we get the right resource for all of us today, whoever is present in this space or whoever will watch this recording. So I invite you guys to take a moment and think that what is it that I would like to receive some guidance on or support towards. So, what is there anything specific that is going on in my life, like a specific issue or a specific area of your life in which you are struggling? So, bring that to your mind. And if you feel called to, you can share that in the comments. And if not, then that's okay. You can simply let me know that you have thought of something by typing ready. And then we can, yeah, scroll through the pages and find a resource for us. Okay, Elizabeth needs some guidance or support regarding grieving. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing that. And if it is, for personally for you, then I'm sending you a lot of healing and a warm hug as well. Okay. Are you guys ready? What about other people? Okay, Amelia is ready as well. And those who cannot comment, you guys can again, press the heart to let me know because I know sometimes you guys are doing something else with the live, so that's okay. Okay, so we have some hearts and we have some people who are ready. So let's see what resource wants to come up for all of us here today. So as I scroll, just hold that thing in your mind. Okay, it was quick. So the worksheet that came up, or the topic that came up for us, is radical acceptance in action. It includes the practice as well as some examples. Okay. So, mm, yeah, and this worksheet has been created by Tara Brach, who is another teacher. I know you cannot read it, but I'm just showing you this. So, I don't know, you feel it in some way. Okay. So, it is like a it is like a two-page worksheet. Okay. And the initial part is regarding what is it, like what is radical acceptance, especially from Tara Brach, who also have a book on this and whose book I have added on the wheel itself. And there are also some journaling prompts, so you can apply this knowledge that you get right, um, like immediately. Okay. So, so Tara Brach says radical acceptance is about letting yourself see things as they really are, without resistance, judgment, or avoidance. It means allowing both the good and the hard parts of life, even when it's tough, or even when it's tough, or you wish that things were different. You don't have to like or approve of what's happening. So again, acceptance is not, that that I like what is happening to me, or I approve, that it is that, I approve of this thing that is happening to me, but about, allowing it to be there, allowing whatever is happening in your life to be there. So you don't have to like or approve of what's happening, but by acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance, judgment, or avoidance, you can ease your own struggle and start to find a way forward. So, you know, you guys, some of you might have heard of that second arrow thing in Buddhism. Like we have this initial pain, initial suffering with us, in reaction to whatever is happening in our life. And then to that primary pain, we add a secondary layer of suffering by, resisting whatever is happening, by denying it, you know, by just somehow wanting it to not happen, whatever is happening, and by judging it that this is not right, this is not good for us, and also by trying to avoid it in some way. There are different ways in which people avoid things like, mm, my go-to way is like, it is a form of distraction, like, watching TV or scrolling and doing stuff like that. Some people, eat food and try to stuff their feelings. So there are different ways, or, to avoid to avoid the situation itself fully by trying to get out of it in some way. So we try to just, and these are different ways of resistance. You can count it, all of it in one, resistance itself, because there are different forms and ways in which different people resist the reality. So, acceptance is when we allow whatever is here and we do not resist it in some way. And when we do that, our struggle eases because that secondary layer of resistance is at least gone, and we feel a little bit lighter. Of course, that pain is here, but once the resistance is gone, our energy is more free to address whatever is happening right now. And it helps us to find a way forward. So, now comes the second heading, which is the benefits of radical acceptance. The benefits of radical acceptance go far beyond feeling calmer in the moment. Over time, it supports emotional healing, healthier relationships, and a deeper sense of peace with yourself and the world. So, like the benefits are mentioned like in points. So, the benefits of radical acceptance are it reduces emotional suffering, which makes sense, right? As I talked about right now. It improves problem solving. Again, it frees up our resources that we were using to resist the reality, and now we can use it to problem solve. Hi, Christina. No, you are on time. You're perfectly on time. Everyone here is on time, even if you joined late, because you were meant to receive this message. Whatever you got to hear from this talk, that was meant to come into your life. Um, Yeah, and Christina, we are doing like something different today. So instead of the meditation, we are doing we are accessing a resource that Insight Timer recently introduced, and the particular resource that came for all of us is radical acceptance in action. Okay. So yeah, I was talking about the benefits of radical acceptance. Another benefit is increased self-awareness because we realize whatever is happening inside of us, build emotional resilience, brings clarity, supports healing, improves relationship, and frees up emotional energy. So these are like all the points, all the big points. And if you search even more, you will find more benefits, I'm sure, research supported benefits as well. Okay. So now there are three examples of how to apply radical acceptance or what radical acceptance looks like, and how is it different from your usual whatever it is that you do. So, scenario 1 is you didn't get the job you wanted. So, our typical reaction to that might be feeling angry, blaming yourself or others, or ruminating on what if this happens since I didn't got a job right now? What if this happens? What if I'm not able to pay my rent next month, and so on. So, that is our typical response. The second kind of response that we can have to the same situation is a radical acceptance kind of response, which is acknowledge your disappointment and frustration. So again, it's about, that noticing that there is frustration in me, there is anger in me. I'm disappointed right now because I didn't got this job. I was working really hard for it, and it is frustrating. I have been applying for so many things, and it is really frustrating for me. So acknowledge that, acknowledge whatever is present here. Then accept that this is your current reality, that this is happening to me right now, because sometimes we are like, this couldn't happen to me, why does this keep on happening to me? So things like that. So instead of it, just accept that this is my current reality. This is my reality in this moment right now. Whatever is happening, in your situation. Then remind yourself that not every outcome is within your control. So, whether the interviewer selected you or not, it is their choice, and I can only influence it, but I cannot control it. It is not in my direct control. So, reminding yourself of that, because sometimes, as I mentioned here, as the author mentions, or the, yeah, author, let's go with author. that we sometimes end up blaming ourselves, or blaming others. So if you went into blaming yourself, that it might help you remind yourself that, it was not in my control. Like the truth is that it is not in my full control. Um, Poonam says, "Hey Anisha, I just joined, and the first thing I'm hearing is the scenario of not getting an intended job position. I'm exactly going through this, so I am in the right time to hear this." I, you know, first of all, thank you for sharing, your experience of this life and your experience of whatever is happening in your life. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable with us. And I'm glad that, it resonated and you got a glimpse of the other way in which you can respond to the same situation. And Poonam, I'm sending you a lot of warmth, and I guess a flicker of hope, because sometimes it is frustrating when we are in this kind of situation. So yeah, I am sending you a flicker of hope that, and I wish that things turn out in your best interest. So thank you for that share. And anyone else also who feels, related to whatever I'm reading, feel free to share that in the comments. It helps other people also, feel less alone in the suffering, to know that someone else also is relating to this. And it does a lot of other things. Um, yeah, Poonam says, "Oh, that's lovely, Anisha, for sending warmth." Yes, it's pretty frustrating. I'm not sure what to feel and not to feel on this situation, to be honest. I guess, you are not supposed to feel in any way. Yeah, but just what is coming up for me is to ask you to be there for yourself and see what is unfolding within your inner world, and be with yourself as it happens, no matter what that emotion is. It can be any emotion. It can feel like an acceptable or appropriate emotion for the situation, or maybe an emotion that seems odd. Just allow whatever is coming up for you, just allow it. Poonam says, "I have been performing good throughout my career." hmm Yeah, and that too, you can do that too, noticing the positives. It's not about ignoring the situation, but it's about, because your mind is sometimes focused on like too much negative. So you can also bring in some positive into your mind, that these are the good things, that has happened, or that are good about me. So yeah, do not let the situation fully take over, or the negatives of the situation fully take over. Okay. Amelia says, "It's always interesting to see the story, the narrative the mind plays. I'm suffering because XYZ, but then it's freeing to realize I'm suffering because I know, somehow I convinced myself I know how things should be." Exactly. Thank you for, bringing that point in. Because sometimes we are too attached with our expectations or with our hopes in a way that this is how things should have unfolded. This is not what I planned, this shouldn't be happening. And that's why the element that the author included in a radical acceptance response is, accept that this is your current reality. And Amelia continues, which is so silly because I don't even know how I am here on this planet right now. I don't know how my life is being sustained, and yet I was confused and thought I knew something regarding how things should be. Oh, I love that, Emilia. That is so beautiful, how you put things into perspective in that single, with that single statement. And I don't even know how I am on this planet. And it is true. It is mystical, it is magical. So, oh my God, that was lovely. And Poonam also says, very insightful, Emilia. Thank you for sharing that perspective. Yeah, that's why I say, guys, share it, share whatever is coming up for you because someone else might need to hear that or it might resonate with them. Christina says, I like to think when things don't go my way, that universe has my back and that probably something better is on the way. Exactly, it's all about perspective. It's not about denying what the situation is. So, the elements that the author mentions is that acknowledge whatever is happening, accept that currently reality, and then once you have processed it within yourself, then you can, you know, choose to see how. Then you can choose how do I want to see the situation and turn your perspective in a way that will help you move forward from that situation towards whatever it is that you want. And thank you for mentioning that, the universe has my back. That is the statement that really made me feel supported for for some time in my life, And that is also a book that we have on this wheel of wisdom that we're going to spin very soon. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Christina. April says, I remind myself to release control and surrender to the flow of life, trusting all works out for my highest good. Ah, I love that, kind of resonating with what Christina mentioned towards the end, that all is working for my highest good. Thank you for sharing like this positive spin, this additional perspective that we can add in that situation that helps us feel lighter, as we go through that heavy situation that maybe I don't see it yet, but this is working for my highest good. You know, this is somehow going to be helpful for me in some way that I don't yet know about, or that my tiny mind, you know, compared to the intelligence of the universe, how my mind is not able to figure out right now. So, yeah, thank you, love. I am loving your shares. They are so beautiful, so helpful. April says, Alexa, Sunshine Rose has a beautiful mantra. I release control. Exactly. You know, because we don't really have that. To be honest, we don't have that much control that our mind make us believe. Um, and okay, and if you want to dive into that control stuff more before I continue reading, or if you need extra support, or if you would like help with, processing the emotions rather than just jumping to the positive, or maybe that's what you need, then you can go to that. Yeah, but if you would like more support, then I have a resource for you that I created some time ago. And the name of that resource is A Therapist Guide to Accepting Life's Difficult Situation. It is actually based on this radical acceptance thing, and it also includes some other things, It talks about control. It talks about, I think, how to process your emotions rather than just ignoring them. And it also involves like, it basically helps you move forward and process it rather than just jumping onto moving forward, going through it, going through the tunnel. So, yeah, if anyone needs it, you can, check that out. And if not, then ignore it. Okay, coming back to the beautiful comments, Poonam says, thank you all for reminding me to be open and accepting and go with the flow of universe plan. Oh, Poonam, I'm so glad for you, that you received what you needed, not just from this piece of worksheet, but also from all these beautiful other people who are sharing from their life experience what has worked for them. And that is also a very, precious treasure. So thank you guys for sharing your wisdom with us. Christina says, but I have a problem with acceptance as I see it like giving up. I am talking like more about when there are injustices or bad things happening. How can you accept? Should you accept or try to change it? Okay, so yeah, I have thought of that one. And that is also a misconception that acceptance means giving up, or, that how can I accept such a thing? How can I accept such a horrible thing that has happened, or that is happening in this world? And what I go back to is that control thing, meaning that whatever it is, whatever you think is unacceptable, for example, whatever is for example, an injustice, or something bad that is happening that you mentioned, Christina, then going back to, instead of torturing ourselves, that how could someone do this, how is this possible, what a bad turn is this world taking, going into that kind of mindset, because that is also not going to do any good, and you're going to get angry, and maybe you might take a step, but that step is coming out of anger, that energy is like frustration, anger, irritation, agitation, and a lot of other synonyms. Instead of that, you can go into, yes, this is happening again. It's not about you should you accept it or not, because so accepting again do not mean liking or embracing or approving of that thing. It is about that, yes, this is happening, Yes, yes, there has been a climate change, for example, and humans have made all of this, created all of this pollution and harmed this earth, you know, and this is so painful, So acknowledging how the emotion that is triggering within you, acknowledging that it is making me feel this and it is okay to feel this, and this is the reality, this is the current reality. So accepting means acknowledging, basically acknowledging that this is happening right now, this is happening in this world. And then to bring change that you talked about and not giving up, because acceptance is not passive. That is why Tara Brach, associated that word of radical with it, because this is a very common misconception that it means giving up. So once you accepted that, once you processed what it is triggering within you, so you're not going into that energy of anger, that kind of a spiral. Now focusing on what can I control about it, what can I do about it, what is in my control. And that's why I shared that course, because I ask you guys to pick a situation and actually do this process with me. So in the, for example, in the climate change thing, what can I do about it, and think about that you know I can start with little actions. I can save energy. I can switch off the lights when I'm not using them. I can, turn off the water when I am brushing or whatever it is, like very, very little task. I'm really talking about very tiny steps, because that is what you're going to do consistently rather than big steps. You can do it one time, two time, but tiny steps really stick. So, or even big ones, what can I do about it? Can I, contribute to a cause that is, related to that? Can I do, this? Can I do that? And put and directing your energy there in that side, whatever energy is coming up for you when you think about it, directing it into that, taking action, and that is how you move forward rather than staying stuck into anger and whatever emotions are coming up. So yeah, and if you cannot really do anything about it, then you cannot, if it is not in your hands, then what is the point of making you suffer over it? You cannot do anything, if you cannot do even a single thing about it, which is usually not the case, but you know but if you think so, then there is nothing that you can do. Why waste your energy? Why add on this suffering on yourself? Why carry this heavy burden? So Yeah, I hope that I, addressed Christina, whatever you were trying to refer. Amelia says, Christina, you're getting ahead of Anisha. No, no, it's all right. Just bring it up, bring whatever is coming up for you. Poonam says, I believe we can still take some steps if we witness some injustice, but only when it is in our capacity and values. We should stay out of it if it takes a lot out of us. Exactly, just assess it for yourself, and it's not about that these are all the things that people say we need to do, but see what can I do, given what the kind of energy I have, given all the responsibilities I have, given all of these different things, given what I value, what I believe in, and then do something about it if you really really want to bring that change. So acceptance help you to process it and do things, do out of that energy of compassion for it, compassion for the injustice that is happening instead of anger, replacing that with compassion, with love, and bringing that energy into the world with the act that you do. Um, Poonam says, I agree with you, Anisha, on this. I'm glad that it is resonating. April says, I keep getting confirmation from spirit that our joy and happiness is of service to the world. Our healing matters not just for ourselves, but for all, as we are all connected. We are the brave souls willing to do the hard work of healing. Yeah, you are, and we are. So trust where you are being led. The lantern you carry will shed light for others to find their way through the darkness. Love that, April. Thank you for bringing like the energetics, of it. Like, even if you are not able to make some impact out there, start the work here. And actually, when you try to make some impact out there, you will have to go through the inner work, you will have to go through here inside of you. So, yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, like, not just in terms of spirituality, that how our consciousness is raising, but also in terms of, when we have done the inner work, when we have, I don't know, I don't use the word healed in a way, but yeah, when we are more conscious, when we are more intentional, then we are doing the things that impacts other in a positive way. When you're feeling good, when you're feeling peaceful, you end up impacting others in a positive way. So if you think of it as logically also, then it makes sense, what April shared. So thank you for that share. Christina says, acknowledge. Then second step is, what can I do about it? Small step. Thank you, Annie. My soul has softened now. I like when you say reacting from a negative place. Thank you, Christina, for, summarizing it for all of us. And I'm glad that, that transformation happened, that just by changing the energy behind it, you felt your heart softening. And that is the energy that you want to, let it out in the world, right? So I'm glad that you received what you were looking for. Um, Christina says, "Oh, April, I like that." And Emilia, you funny. Okay, guys. So now, hmm, should we return back to there are two more examples and a journaling exercise. So should we return back to it? Should we return back to the worksheet, or would you guys like me to spin the wheel of wisdom now? And yeah, you feel full with radical acceptance worksheet. What do you think? Should I continue or should we go to the wheel now? Spin. Uh-huh. Okay, Christina. What about others? Do some voting, guys. Help me out here. Direct this live where it is, wherever it is that you want to lead it. Okay. So people want the wheel, then we are going to go to the wheel. Thank you, April. So, my dear ones, let me open the worksheet. Let me open the wheel. Okay, Poonam is also fine with going with the wheel. So, for those of you who just joined us or who is joining us for the very first time, the wheel that I'm talking about is this. So, this is our wheel of wisdom, and this wheel contains about 31 transformational books that I have came across in my journey of personal growth, transformation, healing, whatever you want to call it. And again, since new people joined us, I invite you guys to take a moment and bring to your mind what is it that I need to receive some guidance on. So notice any specific issue in your life, any area that you're struggling with. So bring that to your mind. Anyone new who has joined us, and hold that in your mind as I spin this wheel. Okay. The universe, God, spirit, angels, source, whatever you believe in, is going to choose a book for us now from this wheel. And the book that came up for us is Nothing Something. Okay, so is Nothing Something, and the book has been written by Thich Nhat. Okay, so let's see. I'm just taking a moment to open the book, and then we're going to play a game. Okay. Hmm. So now, in a moment, I am going to ask you guys to choose a number between certain numbers. Okay. And I do not want you guys to rush at all. Instead, take your time and see, what is coming up for you? Which number are you feeling pulled toward? Which number is coming up for you? And then share that number in the comments. Okay. And then I will go through all the numbers that you guys mentioned and choose a number randomly that I feel intuitively called to. Okay. So in this way, we will get to tap into, that collective wisdom. So every single one of us who is present here or who will listen to the recording will receive that message, that guidance that they need at this moment of their life. Okay. So I invite you guys to choose a number between 8 to 78. Oh, Christina, thank you so much for that kind gift. I am happy that something from this live resonated with you and you decided to act on that wisdom and, spread out that loving, positive energy because this gift is going to support me to create many more, these free resources and a lot of other things that I, create to help people who need guidance or support or something else at, you know, that low phase in their life. So thank you for allowing me to do that. Thank you for supporting me. Okay, now we have a lot of numbers here in the comments. Let's see. So thank you, Nancy, Rems. Oh, you guys both chose the same number. Uh-huh. I am glad that your energies are aligning. Thank you, Poonam, Bree, Charlene, April, Emilia, Kristen, Christina. Okay, so I'm going to take a moment to go through these numbers and see which number am I feeling called to. Thank you, Deb, for adding a number. Okay. Okay, just a second. I'm feeling called to two numbers. Let me choose. Okay. So, the number that I'm feeling most called to is 42, and the number has been chosen by our dear Amelia for all of us. Thank you, Amelia. So, let's see what wants to come through page number 42. Hmm, okay. So, the heading for this one is Who was the Buddha? So, Christina says, could you please repeat the name of the book, please? Yeah, Christina, the name of the book is Nothing Something. And the book has been written by Thich Nhat. And obviously, a book by Thich Nhat was supposed to come up for Amelia. Maybe, Amelia, this might be our last book for a while from Thich Nhat as this month starts. Because, yeah, Amelia really worked her magic. Okay, so again, the heading for this is Who was the Buddha? The author says there are many Buddhas, but the Buddha who is most well known on earth was a human being named Siddhartha, who was born about 2600 years ago in a small kingdom called Shakya, which is in present day Nepal. Siddhartha was a prince. When he saw that the people around him suffered so much, he went to the forest and practiced for many years to figure out how to help people suffer less. After sitting in meditation for a long time, he became the Buddha, which means the awakened one. Now, the second paragraph is what I want you guys to really hear. There is a Buddha, a compassionate, awakened person already inside each of us. Whenever we forgive someone, or love someone, or are compassionate and kind, we are already a Buddha. Every living being can become a Buddha, not just people, but birds, fish, deer, and every animal we know. So I want you guys to remember this that no matter how broken or how lacking or how unworthy, whatever it is that you believe yourself to be, just know that you are like the seed, a seed that has the potential to grow into whatever you want to be whoever you want to be. And you are that, you are that you look to for help, for guidance, for support. You are already that is within you and that is within all of us. Emilia says, wow, that was beautiful. I'm glad, Emilia, that this reading, this reminder resonated with you. And that you never, I hope that you never, feel detached from that light within yourself. Okay. So now, anyone else who feels called to, you guys can share anything that came up as you were reading this, as you were listening to this reading, or if it resonated with you. And I guess let's move on to the next reading for today. So, time to spin the wheel again. Okay. Again, hold in your mind whatever it is that you need guidance on. Okay. And let's spin the wheel. Hmm. So again, a book came up by Thich Nhat, huh? And from the past 5 lives, a book is coming up from this very author, every single life. Usually it is usually the second book that comes up, but maybe since I went with Amelia's number and Amelia's, just okay. So why I am laughing and why Christina is saying Emilia stop it for the ones who are joining for the very first time maybe is because 5 lives ago, what happened was Amelia randomly mentioned in a comment that, I'm feeling, that the next, the wisdom is going to be Thich Nhat Hanh or something like that. And since then, in every single life, we have gotten a book from Thich Nhat Hanh out of all the 31 books on this wheel. So, yeah, Emilia, I'm not going to say like stop it, but you have really unleashed something. Okay. Hmm. And I could remove some of the books from here so we have new books, but I haven't done so because, yeah, I just haven't done so for some reason. I thought let all the wisdom that wants to come through pour in through these books. So, yeah, but if you want to, yeah, Emilia was not aware of her power as we just touched upon that you might not see your light. You might not see you yourself as the powerful creator, but you are. Emilia, you so are. Okay, yeah, yeah, but it is best though, exactly. It is, it is. All this wisdom from the same author is okay. So, but yeah, it always like adds a laugh, adds a smile, to all of our faces, at least to mine and some of you guys as well. So, yeah, you know, maybe that's why I haven't removed it yet. But yeah, if you guys would like to me to remove some of the books from here by Thich Nhat Hanh, because yeah, I like so when I read the first book, which is the book that came up right now, and the name of the book is Peace is Every Step. This is the very first book that I think I read from him, and it is the book that is the most impactful for me, the book that I say changed my life. And when I read this book, I went on this, I don't know, spree or something that I read one book after next from the same author. So there are like more books from the same author, but so that can be one of the reasons. But I have done that with other authors as well. So yeah, I agree with Christina. Emilia, you are a magnify creator. Ah, you are Emilia. Hmm. Okay. So now let's see what wants to come through from this beautiful book, which is Peace is Every Step, the path of mindfulness in everyday life. Okay. So give me a second to open the book. Let me choose some numbers. And by the way, it is okay if the same book also keep on coming up, because these books have a lot of pages and a lot of wisdom. So we are always going to get something different from them. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go with these numbers today. So, again, anyone who joined us just right now, I'm going to ask you guys to choose a number between certain numbers, okay? And take your time, don't rush because I'm going to randomly choose pick a number from those, okay? So, the numbers between which I invite you guys to choose is 50 to 141. Christina says, must be a reason he keeps coming back. Yeah, that's why I haven't removed it because I do not want my mind to get in the way of something that I'm not seeing yet. So I think, yeah, that was another reason. Patrice says, okay. So, Patrice, welcome. So let's see what numbers wants to come through, you guys. Hmm. Thank you, Patrice, for that number, and you're welcome. You're very, very welcome in the space. Thank you, Poonam. A unique number. Okay. Thank you, Ishwari. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Amelia. April. Thank you, Deb. Okay, we have few more numbers from Ishwari. Uh-huh. So she's calling towards a lot of different numbers. Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you, Robin. And if I'm pronouncing anyone's name wrong, you guys feel free to correct me. Okay. So yeah, you yeah, feel free to do that. Okay. Anyone else who want to share a number before we choose one? Oh, thank you, Christina. Okay. So let's see now. What are the numbers that came up? Okay. So the number that I'm feeling called to is 78, and the number has been chosen by Nancy for all of us. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, let's see what is on page number 78. So the heading for it is internal formations. There is a term in Buddhist psychology that can be translated as internal formations or fetters or knots. So, when we have a sensory input, depending on how we receive it, a knot may be tied in us. When someone speaks unkindly to us, if we understand the reason and do not take his or her words on heart, we will not feel irritated at all, and no knot will be tied. But if we do not understand why we were spoken to that way and we become irritated, a knot will be tied in us. Internal formations or knots need our full attention as soon as they manifest, while they are still weak, while they are still weak. So, so that the work of transformation is easy. If we do not untie our knots, when they form, they will grow tighter and stronger. Our conscious reasoning minds knows that negative feelings such as anger, fear, and regret are not wholly acceptable to ourselves or society. So it finds ways to repress them, to push them into remote areas of our consciousness in order to forget them, because we want to avoid suffering. We create defense mechanisms that deny the existence of these negative feelings and give us the impression we have peace within ourselves. But our internal formations or knots are always looking for ways to manifest as destructive thoughts, feelings, images, words, or behaviors. The way to deal with unconscious internal formations is, first of all, to find ways to become aware of them. So, so it's basically the term knots or internal formations that the author is referring to. It's like, this feeling, this uncomfortable feeling, or in fact, a feeling of a knot kind of a thing that we feel when something undesirable happens, for example, that we don't like, that we don't want in our life, and we feel something. But what happens here is, because we have learned, you know, from society that it is not okay to feel negative emotions, like fear, like anger, all of these different emotions. So we have this programming within ourselves, as well as another thing that our mind likes to avoid pain, So for all these different reasons, we try to suppress whatever is starting to emerge within us, whatever is happening within us. We try to suppress it, to push it down, to resist it, into something hidden, to hide it somewhere within ourselves, because it is not going to go anywhere if you're not, processing it. So we end up, like suppressing it, something somewhere deep down within our consciousness, within our bodies, and we think that it's gone, it's all right, now I'm feeling better. But it is, again, as I said, it is not, it hasn't gone anywhere if you haven't processed it, if you haven't worked with it, if you were not aware of it. Because as the author mentioned, it is easier to, to work with it, to be with whatever is coming up for you at the early stages, when you start to feel uncomfortable, when you start to feel triggered in a way, instead of when you have weaved a whole story around it, when you have gone into your past or gone into the future, and now you have a whole story, a whole movie that is playing in your head regarding that situation. Because when that happens, then that feeling has become stronger, because these thoughts, these stories are actually feeding into the emotions that you're feeding into whatever is coming up for you. And it is growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because initially you might be just uncomfortable with what is happening. And now it is the worst thing that can have ever happen to you. So you're feeling big emotions, right? So the author says that it is easier to be with it, to be with that discomfort when it starts to arise. And that's where mindfulness, comes up. That is the function of it. That is how it helps us transform. That as soon as that starts to arise within us, that knot starts to build in within us, we become aware of it. You know, and the more that we practice being mindful, the quicker we would it would catch our attention, and we would be able to go to it, sorry, and then go through it, you know. So, a lot of different elements unfolded here. And I was wondering because, we are not actually processing, doing like the whole process here, but this is like just a piece of wisdom. But does this resonate with you? And would you like me to share some resources regarding how you can, process it, how you can build that skill of noticing it the first time, and how you can, in a way, deal with your thoughts that are feeding to that? Okay, sure. So there are some comments. Christina says it kind of links with radical acceptance. Focus and make little steps. Exactly. Emilia also agrees with Christina. I was thinking the same thing. Back to radical acceptance. Exactly, So radical acceptance, the part of it is okay, so first come mindfulness in this process. First come mindfulness where you become aware this is happening. And then come acceptance that it is okay to feel this way. It is okay, that this is happening in my life right now. It is okay to feel this way. And this is right now, this is happening in my life. So then comes the acceptance. And then comes the whole process of processing it. So, so I was going to remind you actually to go to that, when I said that I have some resources regarding each of these different things. So I was going to remind you to go back to it as well after mindfulness. So yeah, you both of you were very, you know, are very right about this thing. And I'm glad that you brought that element here. Okay. So first thing is to first of all develop the skill to notice when that first knot arises within you, when that first uncomfortable feeling arises within you. And that is how you that and how you do that is by being mindful, because mindfulness is nothing but being aware of what is happening right now, and this is what is happening within you right now, this is coming up. So the course that I've mentioned with you actually will help you cultivate the skill. And it is not about just cultivating it in terms of when you are in the meditation room, which is important because when you are doing a formal practice, when you are dedicating a space and time to it and practicing it more formally and giving it that kind of energy, then it help you, that skill strengthens even more. But you also need to learn how to apply it to your life, like real life. When you go out in the world, when you face difficult situations, how does mindfulness help you? And yeah, just how can you live more mindfully? How can you be more aware? And when things like this happening, when things like, this uncomfortable feeling starts to arise within you, then you notice them, you catch them um like kind of, I don't know, the game, just catching the feelings, making it a game. So, so in that, if you want to develop that skill, you can try this course. In this, I included both how to cultivate the skill in the room, in the meditation room, and outside of it. Okay. We have a lot of comments, so let me go through them first, and then I will share the second resource with you guys. Um, okay, Ishwari says resonating. I'm glad that it is resonating with you. Um, Thank you for sharing that. Nikki says hello. Hi, Nikki. Welcome back. Amelia says Nikki is in the house. Hmm. So late. Huh. Now Amelia is kind of like a, coordinator. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. So what I'm going to say, what I was going to say, Amelia already said it. That better late that than never. And Christina also did. Always at the right moment, lol. Yeah. Okay. Poonam says, so mindfulness help you evaluate best response when we come across difficult situations. Hmm. Mindfulness give you the space, give you the space to make that choice, that do I want to react in my old way, or do I want to respond in a new way that I've just learned about as an adult? So, we mindfulness, when you're mindful, is basically you become aware. So, as soon as as the uncomfortable feelings start to arise in you, if you have been practicing mindfulness for a while, then you would spot it. You would spot it arising, or maybe a story comes up and you got entangled in it, and then you spend some time with it, and then you start to notice, oh, I'm feeling uncomfortable. And the point where you notice it, the point of where you become awakened of to whatever is happening, is the skill of mindfulness. Basically, is mindfulness, is awareness, that I noticed it. I caught it, I caught this feeling kind of creeping in, within me. Okay. And then once you notice it, now you have a choice. That space opens up to make the choice, to make the right choice for you in that moment. So that is how, what I meant mindfulness help you. And if you would like, if you would like to get a more detailed understanding of how mindfulness help you, then I actually have something else for you. So, when you go to my profile on Insight Timer, you will also see some playlists. Currently, I'm not able to see them. I don't know why. Maybe there is some update or something. And I'm not sure if you guys are able to see my playlist. But maybe later on, or I will add it somewhere in my group, which I will mention later towards the end. But yeah, anyways, so I have created a playlist which is 21-day mindfulness meditation challenge. And this playlist, if you don't have a premium, then you can still access the tracks in this playlist because every track is free. Okay. And in this, I have included a track. It is like day two or something. And it dives in deeper to really explain in simpler terms how mindfulness impact your daily life, not just, the research based terms, not just the research based benefits. Okay. So if you want to understand how exactly it helps you, then you can check out, this particular playlist, which is 21 days mindfulness meditation challenge. Okay. So yeah, I hope that that would help you, Poonam. Um, Christina says, to me, mindfulness makes me slow down before I make a move. Exactly. It helps us take a pause. It gives us that space. You know, however you experience it. And yeah, the slowing down is a very appropriate description of it. Thank you, Christina, for sharing that. Sarah says, help to process and grow. Exactly. So when you get that space, when you slow down, then you can choose, do I want to neglect it, ignore it, push it down, or do I want to process it and grow from it, or, do all the other things? So that's how it fits into the equation. Poonam says, thanks, Anisha. You're welcome, Poonam. And the other thing that we talked about, processing rather than shoving it down, then I already shared a course before, which I'm just putting it up again here. So, in this, the last lesson of this particular course, which is a therapist's guide to accepting life's difficult situation. So, in the last lesson, I have guided you guys, there is a guided practice to help you process your emotions rather than rather than just pushing them, ignoring them, avoiding them, resisting them, a lot of, doing all of those different things. So yeah, if you want to learn how to do that, you can, check that out, or you can, every time you need it, you can just do a guided practice together. But if the emotion is like quite overwhelming for you, or you cannot tolerate, sitting and doing the practice, then um then I have the final resource for you, which is this. Laurie says, I want to do all these. Thank you. Thank you, Laurie, for sharing that. I'm glad that, these resources are resonating with you, and I hope that they help you when you most need them. Okay. So in the playlist section again that I mentioned before, you will find another playlist which says self-soothing techniques for difficult emotions. Okay. So in this, I have included some of the, I guess, well-known techniques or some of my own favorite techniques that help you to decrease the intensity of emotions. Because as I mentioned, the more time you take to notice it and you go with the story, the stronger that feeling gets. And sometimes it becomes so overwhelming for us to even think of looking inside. So if that is where you are at, then you might not feel like doing a guided practice or sitting through it. Instead, so at that moment, I would recommend you to check out these techniques that I mentioned, these self-soothing techniques or coping strategies. And they will help you regulate your emotions, no matter which state you are in different nervous system states. So it will help you regulate yourself and to come to a manageable level so that now you can process them. Again, these techniques are not to be used to ignore your emotions or to make them go away. That is another trick that you fall into, which is not, which is the same as distraction and everything, but just a healthy way to do it. So that is another trap that people fall into, which I also fall into with my struggle with anxiety. So do not use these techniques to make the feelings go away. Instead, use them to tone down the intensity so that you can be with your feelings and you can just turn inwards and give them whatever it is that they need. Okay. So, yeah, that was the final resource that I had for this reading that came up. Christina says, thank you, beautiful Annie, and thank you to the room, to all the room. I love being with all of you. I must go. See you all around. Thank you, Christina, for joining us and for all the love and for your support as well. Thank you so much. Poonam says to accept the feeling itself, self compassion would help, I believe, to acknowledge emotions as a normal human feeling. Exactly. So, yeah, so self compassion is a bigger, like, so mindfulness, then comes acceptance, then comes self compassion. And that's how you process this whole thing. And a lot of other elements also comes up depending on where you are, what you need. But yeah, that is like the whole that might be like a sequential process that you might go through, or you can just tap into one element. It depends on where you are. Yeah, and I have added self compassion also in that guided practice because it is what helps you transform that pain. Yeah, and it is interesting that it toned down to all the elements that I use in my own practice, in my with my own clients. Like, um, so for those of you who don't know, I am also like an aligned life coach, and I have like created a special like path framework. The name of it, I put it as path, which is basically a path to a deeply fulfilling life, an authentic life. So the elements of it are the same. P stands for like pausing, like, being mindful. A stands for allowing, acceptance, acknowledging, and all of that. Then comes turning towards it with love. And then the final step comes, which is to take some steps to move forward that are aligned with what you truly desire. So that is how the whole process flows, and that is how the whole process unfolded in our life today as well. Um, okay. Who Neil says, thank you. You're welcome, Neil. How to access your playlist. So usually they are on my profile itself, but for some reason, since 2 days, I'm not seeing them. But yeah, so either they might appear in my profile or they might be visible for you. I don't know. For me, it is not. So when you go to my profile on the home page, okay, let me put my profile here first. Yeah. So when you go to my profile on the home page, when you scroll all the way down, okay, so just above this group, a playlist section used to be there. I'm not sure if it is there for you or not, but you can check it out for you. Is it visible or not? So here you will find you would have found all my playlists. Okay. But for you guys, what I will do is I will okay, so You can like join this group. Okay, this is a little community of mine on Insight Timer known as Wonderful Beings. The name of it is Wonderful Beings. It is an open public group, and what I will do here in this group is I will mention the playlist here. I will, put the playlist somewhere that either in the chat section or feed section for you guys, and this way you can easily access them if it is not visible for you. And also, another reason to join that group is I actually, after the live, within like 5 or 10 minutes, I upload a summary of each live in that group, including the meditation that we do. Today we didn't do a meditation. Instead, we switched it with a worksheet by Insight Timer. But usually we do a meditation, so I mentioned that. I also mentioned the name of the books that we read and the readings. Okay. So, yeah, so if you would like to join it, then I would love to have you. And I also like do some updates, and this is my way to stay connected. So, yeah, if you want to be a part of it, then you can. Or if you want access to playlist and they are not visible on my homepage, which I don't know why, but yeah, then you can access them from there. I will like put them there. Okay. Either in the description or the chat or the feed. I will figure it out where to put it. Okay. Sarah says, I walked through Chinatown yesterday and saw a small Chinese figurine like my mother used to like. I felt such a bittersweet nostalgia grab at my heart. Oh, I hope that you know, if you are still, if that is still in your mind space, then I hope that you allow both the bitter and the sweet part, the sweet memories of her and the bitter moments, you know, and maybe use that, because I say every moment is an opportunity to practice, to become more of what you want to be. So if you want to become more compassionate with yourself or more accepting, then use that as a moment to practice those, allowing those bitter, emotions also to come up and to care for them in that moment. Okay. So now we're about to touch like 1 hour, 30 minutes. So I guess, yeah, it's time to end this live. Um, so before I end it, I would like to share some other resources. But what you guys can do is that if you guys are already a regular, if you guys have been here before, then you might already be aware of all the other things that I offer. So in that case, you can leave right now if you want to, because it can be irritating if I keep on repeating the same resources. So yeah, I have just put up my next live, and I can see you there, and I would love to see you there actually. And if you want to actually sit and listen to see maybe this time it resonates with you differently, because sometimes what happens is we have heard the same thing before, but this time it clicked with us, or this time you really needed that resource. So if you want to stay, you're welcome to, and if you want to leave, then that's okay too. And if you are joining us for the very first time, or if you want to know about the resources, you have been here before but you don't know about all the things that I offer, then you are welcome to stay. I would like invite you to stay, and we can take like 5 more minutes to touch upon all the things that I offer, so that you can see that, is it what I need at this moment, is it what I was like looking for at this moment in my life. And if yes, you can go to them. If not, then 5 minutes won't do any harm. So yeah, your choice. If anyone, if any of the regulars wants to leave, you can say bye, and yeah, we can say goodbye, and then we can move on to the resources for the ones who don't know about them. Poonam says, now on, I would be away from chat box, so won't read or write here as I'm preparing to go to bed. But I'm listening in though. Oh, thank you, Poonam, for, letting me know, and also for choosing to listen to this as you go to sleep. That is a very precious time. So I am honored that you're willing to spend it with me. And no need to reply to this, just relax. Okay. So I'm hoping for the ones who wanted to leave, you guys have left. And for the ones who are joining for the very first time or who don't know about all the things that I offer, then let's start with two places where you can find all my resources, like, clubbed together. Okay. So the first place where you can find it is you can go to my homepage. Okay. And when you scroll all the way down, probably you might see a playlist section here. Okay. It is not visible for me right now, but probably you might see, or I will add them to my group. But, anyways, these are the playlists that you will see. And I have organized all of my tracks into these playlists so it is easier for you to navigate all of the content that I offer. Okay. So I already talked about two playlists, which is this self-soothing techniques, okay, to help you regulate your emotions, and this 21 days mindfulness meditation challenge to help you become more mindful, live more mindfully, or cultivate that skill of awareness. And then there are two more playlists, okay? The second one is for negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. So this is the one that is the latest, that I started. And this playlist basically includes like 3 or 4 minutes tracks, which are about the usual limiting thoughts, the common limiting beliefs or the negative thoughts that you guys have, that I also have. And what I have done is that in this like 3 minutes short track, my intention was that I don't want you guys to feel alone when you are at that low moment. So that's why I created it, because I needed that when I was, going through something a lot of different times in my life. So yeah, I wanted to offer that to you. And other than, reassurance of feeling less alone or feeling soothing, I also have added a perspective shift into these tracks. So that by the end, when you leave these tracks, you feel like a flicker of hope. It help you move forward, in some way. So, yeah, so you can, check out these. The ones that are already here is there is something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I'm too broken to heal. Or what if I make the wrong decision? Okay, so these are already the ones that are here. I'm planning on to add more, but I'm giving myself the time to come up with it, because I kind of sit with for a whole week with each, negative thought to see what comes up. So yeah, it is taking some time. John says, I feel short. Um, I don't get it. John, what you're trying to say? Can you please elaborate? Okay. So until John writes, I will introduce you to the final playlist, which is this. Wheel of Wisdom, pick a meditation. So it is just like the Wheel of Wisdom here, but instead of the books, I have replaced it with meditations that we have done in this very series of Wheel of Wisdom. So we usually start a live with a meditation, and we have recorded over 100 plus meditations so far. So when you will click on this playlist, there are the instructions to play this game, which is simply to close your eyes and scroll and scroll and scroll and place a finger somewhere. And wherever your finger is, just, use that meditation. Know that this is how you want it to be guided today. This is how your soul choose to be guided today. And go through that meditation. So yeah, this is like a fun way to do that. So this is one place where you can find all of my resources. And then I'm going to introduce you to two more places. Okay, sorry, yeah, there are three places. So I'm going to introduce you to two more places just in a moment. Let me read John's comment first. John says, sometimes I just don't know what to do simply because I'm scared and can't hold a conversation for more than 20 minutes. And that's okay, that's normal, you are not short, as you mentioned, because I too don't, I have difficulty holding a conversation with people who are not my clients, who are not you guys, people in my life, to have like, I have difficulty doing like short talks, like small talk, yeah. So I guess different people have uh, different things that they struggle with, and you know, it's okay. It's okay. Just accept that this is something that you're struggling with right now, and notice that, do you want to actually hold more than 20 minutes conversation? Not just because other people do so, but do you want to have these kind of long conversations with people? And if so, then, you know, try to look out, try to, or maybe you have, then, try to look for resources or information or just something to help you with that, or someone to help you with that. So maybe look back, what has anything helped you so far? Or what can you do right now to, you know, to move forward in this direction, to cultivate the skill? Because as I say, everything can be learned. There is nothing that, yes, it might take more effort for you compared to someone else, but it is not impossible for you to learn because, you know, there is this book by Carol Dweck, which talks about like growth mindset and the opposite of that. I think limiting mindset. I don't remember the other term, but yeah, which says that some of us believes that, if I'm not good at this, then there's no point in trying, or that a person is born with a particular skill or a particular level of intelligence. And why I refer to it as the opposite is because it is limiting. It stops us from being whoever we want to be, doing whatever we want to do, having whatever we want to have. Instead, just try to find a way that, where can I find resources? Ask yourself, have I ever tried to look for more resources to help me with that? If yes, then what helped? And if nothing helped, then can I look for new resources? Because this is this kind of an information age where we can find all of these different things. And before you go on to do into all of this action, doing all of these different things, ask yourself, do I really want to do that? Like, do I really want to have long conversation? And if yes, then with what, with whom, with whom do I want to have these kind of long conversation? With what kind of people? Because it isn't that I also enjoy deep conversation, but I do not enjoy deep conversation with every single one, every single person I meet, every type of person I meet. So, see, instead of comparing and thinking of yourself as lacking something, John says, I do, and I want to stream on Twitch. I'm not sure what Twitch is, but yeah, then look out for what are the other people, who have moved from your situation or similar kind of situation to doing this thing that you want to do, and what have they done, what skill have they learned, how are they able to do that? Okay, so, and if your comment disappeared, then I want to let you know that, yeah, since I think you mentioned another platform because of which, somehow the, I don't know if it is AI or something, but yeah, that disappears from the comments. So yeah, I want to let you know that. Okay. So yeah, that was what came up for me regarding your situation, John. And I hope that it helped you in some way, or yeah, or maybe it clicked something in you that would help you find that resource that would help you. Okay. So yeah, I was mentioning the places where you can find every all the resources that I offer. So the second place where you guys can find all the resources, all the things that I offer is by going to my profile again. And here you will see a courses section. Okay. So I already mentioned some of the courses with you guys before here, but if you want to see, what are all the courses that I offer, then you can check out this courses section because I have around 7 courses. And yeah, you can scroll and see what are all the courses that I offer and just, take the one that you feel resonated with because, so the ones that I offer is apart from what I already mentioned, I will like quickly name them just very briefly. One is regarding finding the common thinking patterns, that makes our life miserable according to certain therapeutic approaches, and also strategies to overcome them. The other one is also is related to finding or identifying your limiting beliefs that are hidden away. The third to, is to do after these 2 courses because it involves some common strategies that you can apply to both negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. Okay. Then the other course I have is if you want to stop chasing and start living your life instead of going with the mindset that I will be happy once I have this. Okay. So if you want to live in the now, move from doing to being, balance both of them, then you can try that course, and I'm just mentioning them very slightly so that in case if this is what you find interesting, you can go and explore. And John says, where can I find this? Yeah, okay. So, as I mentioned, you can go to my profile, go to the courses section, and when you scroll down, you will find all these courses here. I can put them up here, but it might consume a lot of time for you guys to, save and everything. So for the ones who want to go, but yeah, that is this is that course that I was referring to. And then okay, let me see. Yeah. And then the final course that I haven't mentioned up until now is this. Yeah. So if you want to find peace, joy, and that sense of wonder in your life right now, in your daily life, without changing anything about it, then there is a course for that as well. Okay. So these are all the different courses that I have. And yeah, and you guys can go to the courses section and see which one resonates with you or which one you need most right now. And if so these are the 2 places. And the third place is so if any resource that I mentioned here do not resonated with you, right? In relation to what is going on with you right now, or what you are looking for, or whatever it is that you need in this moment, then the final place where you can find what I have to offer is here. You can go to the about section in my profile, okay? And when you scroll down, there are a lot more other things that got added because like I also so as I mentioned, Insight Timer has started like a therapist hub kind of a thing. So yeah, I registered there, so a lot of different things got added to the about section. Yeah, but when you scroll down, in the about section, when you scroll all the way down, the bottom thing, when at the bottom you will see here you can find all the other free resources. And if you want to work personally with me, you can also find a way here to do that. And at last, if you want to know about my journey, because I also struggled with anxiety a lot at a point in my life. And yeah, if you want to read more about that, then you can also check it out here. So these are all the 3 places where you can find what all I have to offer. And I hope that something resonated from these resources with you guys, or yeah. And if you want like more detailed as to what is it in there, you can go and explore. You can go to my profile and explore it there. So yeah, that's it for this live. Thank you for listening to me patiently. I am so grateful for your presence, for all the lovely hearts that flows in, for the wonderful interaction we had today. Thank you. And I bow down to the divine within you all. Namaste. So I will see you day after tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye bye. You guys can save this, if you want to join the next live. And don't forget to, check out the resources that did resonated with you. Okay. So, bye. You're welcome, John. Bye.